Hello, wonderful viewers. Thank you for joining me today. I want to read on Vladimir Putin. What is he up to? What's going on? We got the news today that his prime minister and the entire government has resigned. Now, the prime minister has been moved to uh, deputy security officer, so like national security kinds of concerns, and he's got a placeholder. He's got somebody coming in as prime minister. But most people are guessing that this may be his way of restructuring things so that he maintains power, because he and the prime minister had sort of exchanged roles as president and prime minister over the years, but now he'd be coming up to the end of that in 2024. So the conjecture is that maybe he's restructuring things so he's going to decrease the powers of the president and set a stricter term limit on him or her, so that that person would have less power, and Parliament perhaps can appoint cabinet members, and the president can't overrule that. It's all right now. I feel like, why am I even saying this? It's all in the early stages. It's all conjecture. The main thing is, I want to know what is going on. Can Spirit give us any information about this and about the future? I get concerned for the Russian people. There have been increasing demonstrations. They're concerned. They're really worried about the economics, for one thing. There's a lot of income inequality, and there is increasingly everywhere. But for Russians, apparently it's been worse. It's been more difficult. So he increased the pension age. Of course, I think, yeah. It just depends. It depends upon what program gets picked on, I suppose, how the population sees it. But definitely they have had more troubles lately and in recent years after having recovered a lot. So let's see. What is this about, Spirit? Okay, in the present, we have the Temperance Angel. So right now, okay, nothing's going to happen this was quick, yes, but this is part of a long-term plan. That's why we get the Temperance Angel. This is, yes, and in fact, it's a multifaceted plan, and this angel dips the toe in, so it will, each stage, each step, the timing of each step will depend upon other factors, how it goes over. Yeah. So, it's a tempered plan. It's a long-term plan. This isn't something new. Right. I think people who are in the know were not surprised by it. But, I don't think there are a lot of people in the know, because I do think Putin is very, very private about these kinds of plans. So this has been in for a long time. I like the Temperance Angel, though, you guys. I do, because, we don't, we wouldn't want to see anything extremely drastic that would completely disrupt things for the Russian people either, right? That was a concern of mine. And we have the Three of Wands. Okay, so this is part of a larger plan. This is a step in the plan. He's waiting for his ship to come in. Yes, indeed. This is something to serve his interests. Yes. Yes, definitely. He does want to remain in control. The Hermit. There are some things about this only Putin knows, and maybe somebody extremely trusted. Yeah, this is the brainchild of Putin, that means. This was not done in collaboration. We're not getting a Three of Coins. This is his idea. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's see about immediate future. We have that Nine of Wands, a little guarded. We have the Ace of Coins. He's carving out an opportunity for increased security, and we have the Hope card. Okay, and he wants to, I feel like right away I got that the disenchantment, the discontent that the public may have about income inequality or their quality of living having decreased, he does want to appease that. He does. He wants to provide a solution. He wants to, yes, if some of the responsibility can be shifted on to a government that he would say was ineffective at the time in this issue, he would find that right up his alley. He definitely wants to maintain his power. He wants to present himself as having an answer for greater economic prosperity. So I think we can expect him to suggest that many of the troubles that have occurred have been the fault of certain governmental members who have now resigned. I think we can expect that. He's going to try to shape that kind of narrative. And I don't feel like it's anything, I don't feel any rancor. I mean, I don't feel like he's angry with them. I don't feel like there may be some he's dissatisfied with. I think he genuinely is dissatisfied with the structure. Yeah, I believe, my sense is that he really believes he could indeed do a better job. The problem is he was too limited in what he was able to do. He really believes that. So when the former prime minister says, we want to give him freedom to make the changes he needs to make, I think that's exactly what Putin is thinking. I think it is. That's not a lie. That's exactly what he's thinking. The thing is, this 9 of Wands keeps coming up in Putin's readings. It can be a card that indicates somebody's been through things and that's shaped the way they see things, and like always on guard. And we know that he had a very difficult time of it in his childhood, early adulthood, early career, and then the Soviet Union fell, and there was a lot of touch and go. There was a lot of touch and go. And then, Russia went through such a terrible depression, recession. So it's not been easy. But, I've always been concerned about that, because always in these readings I hear that's a problem, though, because the leader that pulled them out of that may not be the one to usher in a new prosperity and maintain that, because the worldview is different, the goals are different, the ideas are different. He would be one who wouldn't think they could afford more freedom from the citizens, for the citizens to have more power in their hands, for the vote to be more free and less restricted. He is not that person. He is that person who would be, yes, more fiercely protective, yes, but to usher in and maintain a new era of prosperity, I just don't know that he's that guy. He does want to instill hope for them. He does, I think, believe he can do this. As far as the citizenry goes, I feel like he just is somebody who believes that you have to clamp down on dissent. That is too public. You must clamp down on it for order, and he justifies that, and he doesn't have any qualms about that, and he thinks it's dangerous not to. I really do. That's again where this comes in. That's again where that comes in. So I think he feels that way. I don't think this necessarily means, sure, he would like to usher in a new era of prosperity, but he would like to be the guy who did it and recognized as the guy who did it. He does want that. I've saved Russia. He does want that kind of narrative. Gosh, yeah. Yeah, so I don't foresee the people getting more latitude, if anything less. All right, let's keep going. And then further out, we've got the Lover's card. Who is he in bed with? Who will he choose to help him with this? Politically, I mean. The Empress, pregnant with a new possibility. 10 of coins. Generational money. Yeah, so I don't see anything in the plans in the future to decrease the fortunes of the oligarchs or of Putin himself. I don't see any, increase is the word, actual, increase in that, increase in power that is centralized in the hands of a few and more under control of Putin. But he has allies, so this is allies, other national leaders, allies. He feels that he would be able to, he's, okay, so he is thinking that this change, the changes he is going to be making, will be something that will be beneficial between him and perhaps another world leader in accomplishing something. Oh boy. I'm very uneasy about it. My feeling is unease because though I don't think things will happen really quickly, I do think personal freedoms will be decreased, not increased. And I just don't know that he knows how to reign over prosperity. I just don't know that he does, frankly, because it makes him uneasy. It makes him uneasy if there's open dissent and open protests and a vote where people aren't limited at all, because he has a history, right, of jailing opposition or in some other ways undermining the vote. I just don't think he understands. I don't think he understands what his people truly need to have quality of life, better quality of life. I think he thinks it's financial, and he believes he can get that for them, increased finances. It will be because he is wealthier and more powerful. And Russia is, those who have influence in Russia are wealthy and more powerful. It will be by amassing their power, their wealth, he believes. I just don't think it's going to be good. Yet, I have to tell you, I hear in my ear, it's not, neither will it be a disaster. So that's good. That's reassuring to me. Neither will it be disastrous. I almost hear him. It's like he intends, like he does have, like in the far off future, after this dragon is slayed and that, we have these indices and we have all kinds of security, very important for him. All kinds of security, then we could introduce more freedoms. We could not worry too much. But until then, he sees himself as very much embattled, very attacked, very on guard, very up against it. And he does see Russia as an extension of himself, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. Very paternalistic in his decision making. Okay, what about in the further off future? We have the Knight of Wands. We have the Hierophant. Okay, so he is going to make sure that things don't absolutely fall apart. So yes, so that's why he's got this caretaker government in place, right? These people who've resigned are not just going home. And then we've got a victory of some type. Let me look. Let me clarify a few of these. Let me clarify this victory card. What is that? Hierophant. Okay, so I think it's not too far into the future before he does make a new government, before he does kind of lay it all out. I think so. And I think he will throw a grand party. I think he will throw a grand party for that day. What's this Knight of Wands? I think that's a new younger person that is identified and sort of being brought up to replace him as president. And I don't know if that's in 2024, this is a guy who has long-range plans. If that's the case, or I think what he's planning on having for president is somebody who is pretty charismatic, who is younger, who is loyal to him, of course, and would be a terrific front person. And would maybe even talk about some populist kinds of interests, the interests of the people, helping the people. He's going to try to shape that narrative and increase enthusiasm. And I do think there will be some hopefulness conveyed by the time this is all put together. However, I do not, you guys, I just don't get the sense that this is a change that will ultimately be good for the people. I just do not. Not that it'll be disastrous, no. But yeah, and I think Spirit will use it to actually end up weakening Putin, oddly enough. Because the more he tries to increase his power and strength, the more that's going to fuel resistance. And I think he plans on putting a really nice shiny cover on this, but I don't think it'll be too long before people start putting all the dots together. They're pretty savvy. They've been through a lot, the citizens there, and they may not openly talk about everything, but I get the sense that they're pretty savvy and they're pretty skeptical, although I don't know that they'd openly discuss that. The Chariot. I mean, it's not on social media anyway. The Chariot is something suddenly happening. There would be two put up as potential candidates for the presidency, yes. It will be pulled forward. Either one would be all right with him to have, I think. Well, one better than the other, though. One he'd like better than the other. Interesting. Okay. King of, right. The government then dominated by Putin, who seems to be entrenched in that throne, and the leaves, the vines grow over him. He's so ensconced. And look at even the building in the background, right? Yeah, so this is interesting. Yeah, okay. Well, I think he's going to, in the next year, he will bring about a lot of what he is planning to bring about. And I think people will be holding their breath and hoping it's not going to be terrible or anything. And it's not in the next year. It's not. So then they're relieved. But there's still this sense of uncertainty because it doesn't feel... The more a governmental system is based on propaganda rather than facts, rather than facts borne out in a free press, the more, just the more restricting, uneasy, and frankly unstable, I believe, the government becomes. Let's see. We have the Ten of Swords. New beginning, but it's being blocked. New beginning, pregnant with a new possibility, but it's being blocked. I feel like there's a lot of lip service given to more free elections, but it just doesn't happen. It's the appearance of it that's wanted. The Three of Cups, celebration among the very wealthy. So in other words, yes, the oligarchs this will only improve their fortunes. The Lover's card, winning at any cost. Okay, so this would be an ally that is militarily minded. This would be an ally who would also agree with a very authoritarian way of ruling and sort of seek to increase their power as well. I am concerned, you guys, that Trump figures into this somewhere. Not that Trump would be initiating this, the opposite, that Putin figures Trump into this somewhere. Pulling the wool over his eyes. Okay, let me look at this 9 of Wands. So we have the Emperor, right? And that's why he's the Emperor. I rule with an iron fist. That's why he's the Emperor, because he feels like he's got to be. He feels like he will not be comfortable until there's a lot more power there for him. For him personally, but yeah, he does. Like I said, he identifies Russia with himself. So for Russia too, he feels like the wanting to take over Ukraine, still a goal, and still working toward that really hard. Wanting to do that and invading Crimea, that kind of thing, is just a step in the directions he'd like to take. So yeah, this isn't the Justice card. Opportunity for increased money security. I feel like he's going to hold it out. Opportunity for increased justice. But I just don't think that's going to happen with this. Right. The hopefulness, the 7 of Swords. Right. It's like he wants to really, he's going to really be trying hard to increase hopefulness here among the people. But there's a scheme here. He actually really wants to increase his own power. He does. Okay. Let's see about the Hermit here and the Hermit again. Ooh. Again, very isolationist. Again, very, yeah. So that's his plan for one thing. And for another thing, he wants to be the one in power. He doesn't want to share power. But also sort of like Russia first, Russia only. You know, he wants to have that dominance. Yeah, okay. Ace of Swords for the 3 of Wands. So in other words, there are truths there to be revealed. What is his ship that he wants to have come in? We don't know. Spirit could whisper it. You know, it's like that. And the 7 of Cups for the Temperance Angel. So that is definitely part of the plan. They're going to go gradually, and that way peddle illusion a little better. Okay, so what about ultimately what happens? I'm looking at, columns that usually would mean like about a year out or something like that. But of course, tarot is difficult. What ultimately could happen, Spirit? Completion, the World. That's Putin. It's always been Putin. He rides it out. Emperor, yes, he will definitely. Yeah. I think this is saying that it's likely he will be successful in his plan. And his power will have increased, and income inequality will not be getting better. People are going to be more shut out of the decision-making process. So I don't think this helps. This doesn't improve the people's fortunes. It just doesn't. Ultimately, I mean, in years and years, what does it look like? 10 of Cups. Okay. Ace of Cups. And the 6 of Cups. Okay. So in years and years, it looks better for the people. 10 of Cups, we're basically fine. We're able to raise our children. It's all right, with some amount of emotional security. Ace of Cups, maybe even a peak emotional experience. 6 of Cups. In some ways, a nostalgia, a returning back to feeling like they've had a little more power. 8 of Coins. They're working. It's not like the money's, rolling in, but they're working, they're productive, they're learning, people are working. Okay, so I think what I see is success for him, but then it reversing. I don't know when, a few years out, I see it reversing. Couple years out, yeah, as the the notions he's using become outdated. I don't know how else to say it. Because the world is changing. I don't feel like there's some violent upheaval, though, you guys. I do not feel it. I don't feel like there's some kind of violent upheaval to change the power structure. Protests, though, yes, but I don't feel like it. I feel like it's more like the financials just don't work out the way he thinks they could for the people, and their economic decline for the citizens doesn't reverse. It does not reverse. It continues. And so his storyline about what a great thing this is, it really isn't as believable. It's just people lose faith. And he may seem to have some success for a while, but people really don't like it. After a while, they're saying, how did that help anything? It just increased his power. So I think there's more pushback against him, actually. Not in the coming year, but after that, more pushback. Not even maybe in the coming 2 years. I don't know how much. It depends on how much he clamps down on that kind of thing. But it will be like, okay, his time has come and gone. It'll be like that. And I don't think, like I said, I don't see any kind of coup or anything like that. I just see resistance growing and growing and growing after a while. When people aren't working and they don't have money to eat, to pay their bills, they have plenty of time to protest, and they get braver about it. You know, what's to lose? So I think it's tumultuous. And I think some of those protests will be pretty hairy, but they've been. I think they're going to see a lull in the protests for a while, as everybody's very uneasy, because I think he will clamp down. So maybe not this summer, but, as he has established the new government. So it's interesting. But I do, gosh, you know what? I just feel like I want to say the Russian people are smart. They're smart. They have become very well informed. And even though they may be very careful about where they're going to express their opinions, most of them are. He doesn't have the kind of tight control like, say, Kim Jong-un has, right? Not even anything near that. So these people can talk about this with trusted friends. They can. There will be those who are willing to venture risk and protest. That will continue. So he just can't do what he's planning on doing, I think. I think it can't be sustained. And I think he's going to have to step down at some point. In fact, this may hurry that along a little bit. It may. So thankfully, I don't see anything awful happening for the people of Russia. But yeah, I don't see it improving. In fact, the opposite. And things, getting a little worse economically, financially. It's not going to work, what he's planning on doing here. It's going to look like it's working. It's going to look like it's working, maybe even in a year, maybe in the next year too. It's going to look like it's working, but he's not going to deliver on the promises. Then there is something that just, I keep hearing over and over again, you guys, I got to say it. And if any Russian people are listening, I do keep hearing the Russian people are smart. The Russian people are smart. This is what I keep on hearing over and over, like, and they're daring. There are some that are just quite daring. They've come up in a time, and over the last 30 years, when they've come out of some difficult stuff, and they're not about to see that happen again. And there's a willingness to be kind of daring and courageous. And I just see it, all of those who are hackers and manipulating social media and such. Well, why can't they do that on the behalf of the people? There's going to be more and more of that on behalf of the people. So I just see this falling apart for him. Not now, not even in a year, probably not in two. But then it's starting to get, I see it falling. Oh, yep, death card. Gosh, it could be in the second year. I don't know. Four of coins. Eight of coins. Okay. The worker. All right. Yeah, I don't know. There's some conjecture that this may not even make a huge difference for a while, because is he just trying to manage his transition that's in 2024? Is he going to wait till 2024 to make any huge changes? Five of Cups, looking back, regrets. Three of Swords, Queen of Swords. No, I don't think he is going to wait to make big changes, because, people are still going to be saying, wait a minute, our financial well-being has decreased. We have less. This is a recurrent theme. This has been the cause of protests. And less freedom, fewer individual liberties, the less pure vote. Queen of Swords, people informing, media coverage he doesn't like. Okay, so no, I don't think it's going to take till 2024 before he starts to change things in a noticeable way. But again, timing is kind of fluid with this. Divine protection and strength, yes, and I do think that's for the people. I do. I think they're going to be okay, but their courage will still be needed. Their fortitude will still be needed. Their smarts will still be needed. Yes. Their unity more than ever. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you, Spirit, for that. But like I said, I don't see in fact, I don't even see him ending in disgrace. It's more like there are people who still like him. There are people who still like him, even when there's a big change that will happen. There are still people who would say he's done a lot. So I don't see this horrible crisis. Although now that I'm saying that, I do have to say people's experiences of that can be a little different. I mean, Spirit is always really good at telling me, this will work its way out or that, but it can be darn uncomfortable in the meantime, right? It still can be difficult. So anyway, they might say it's difficult, but then these folks are pretty tough. A lot of them are pretty darn tough. So it'll work its way through. Deep mysteries about how it ends. Okay. Maybe something spiritual. Six of Cups again. So look at this. We keep getting the same. Six of Cups, Eight of Coins. Yeah, the working people wanting to have a nice environment for their kids. Yeah. They're going to hang on. That's what that's for. They're going to hang on to their basic security. They're not, thank goodness. So this to me is kind of reassuring. But yeah, I just keep coming back to it. I just don't think he's the leader for prosperity, to reign over sustained prosperity for the people. But he and his cohorts have done some amazing things in the past, that I don't agree with the ways they've done them, but there were challenges. Probably could have been done better, but there's a reason there's some loyalty to him in the country. And I think as Americans, I do think, even though we become really uneasy with a lot of, with authoritarian leadership, I think we sometimes make the mistake of then assuming that these leaders have no following in their countries, and that really may not be true. We have to be open-minded to the evidence. So, and Believe me, I am not defending Putin by any stretch of the imagination. The human rights violations will curdle the blood. But there it is. All right. Well, I thank you all so very, very much. You take care. Bye-bye.